Okay, what up, are we live? Ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot, hopefully your favorite Darktide partner, and today I'm gonna teach you about the Plasma Gun Veteran. You've probably seen me running this on stream, clearing the Auric Damnation runs with the Plasma Gun Veteran. If you haven't, I highly suggest you check that out because this is one of my favorite veteran builds right now. It is so good at taking out elites and specialists. It is just a devastating build that is pretty straightforward to use and doesn't require a lot of complex thought. So why choose the plasma gun? Well, it can headshot, and with the right stuff, you can really blast through, let's just say everybody and everything, like so. You see? Yeah? Okay, so this is why you choose the plasma gun. It's a fantastic weapon and it works very well under the right circumstances. That, and you can also have a chainsword with this, which is really, really awesome. I mean, come on. This is let me show you the best feeling in the world. Okay? Even from the back. Best feeling in the world, sawing a mutant in half. Okay? So, this build is pretty fantastic, but it does require some pretty specific things that I'm going to go through right now. So, camera vanish. Bye. Okay. Alright. Jokes aside, let's get into this build. Let me show you how it's done. Your first choice of melee weapon is the chainsword, and the best part about this is that the only thing that is really important is the stats. The blessings are hardly important, and so you don't have to worry too much about customizing this. You can literally have it your way, okay? Stat-wise, the most important thing is damage as high as possible, penetration as high as possible. Unfortunately, I only got 69 on this, but you know what? 69 is pretty nice, so I left it at that. Finesse as high as possible. These three are your keys. Shredder, you just want between 65 to 70 and that's good enough. If you happen to get anything higher, that's also very good. But roughly I would say 71, 70 is more than enough. Mobility as high as possible as well, because this affects your dodge distance, sprint speed, all that. If you get it around 70, that's more than good enough. All right. I would actually rather have had higher penetration, lower mobility and lower shredder, but it is the way it is. This was one of the best rolls that I got, so I'm not dumping this, even if the penetration is a bit lower. Like I said, I would have loved it a bit higher, but again, the thing about this is that you're mostly using it against the horde enemies, so you don't really need to worry about stats too much, because your chainsword is mostly for doing stuff like this. This is what it's designed for, okay? It's designed for cutting heads off the horde enemies that come after you. And it succeeds at doing this pretty well, okay? Alright, so now that you understand that about the chainsword, what are the perks and blessings you need? With the chainsword, to be perfectly honest, I use +2 stamina because with this build, I'm constantly pushing back hordes that may be on me, chopping them to bits, push, chop, 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 push, chop, chop, chop. So that is basically what I'm doing with this. Therefore, 2 stamina is very important to me for this build. The other one is whatever the hell you want. I happen to roll melee critical chance, good enough for me. In terms of your blessings, the only one that I really worry about is Wrath. Why Wrath out of all things? Wrath just gives you up to 200% extra cleave, which makes it easier to deal with hordes. That's all. So that's why I've got Wrath. There are a lot of other choices that you can pick, and if you like them, go for it, okay? But I just happen to pick Wrath, and that's it. The other blessing is a free choice. Get whatever you want. You want to get Shred, you want to get Bloodletter, you want to get this, you want to get that, all up to you. Okay, there's no right or wrong answer. Like I said, the only thing that I feel is necessary is 2 stamina to survive with this build, because your melee is your only way of dealing with hordes, and it is crucial that you can survive hordes by having a crap ton of stamina to constantly push, swing, swing, push. While they're still reeling, you do all that. Use your push attack if you really have to stab somebody. This is very important, all right? So that is why I've chosen this particular style. Okay, now that covers it for your melee weapon. Now let's talk about your ranged weapon. Your ranged weapon is of course going to be the plasma gun. Look at that bad boy. All right, this thing is explosive and dangerous. You should therefore use it every chance you get. In terms of your perks, you will want to get flak armored enemies. That is your first and most important thing. Unarmored enemies or whatever else you want is your second perk, and you can truly just be free with this one to get whatever you want. I choose unarmored enemies because of the stupid dread gunners and I really hate them. Okay, so I literally went with 25% damage to unarmored enemies. But flak armored enemies is pretty standard, and it will help you against most enemies as well. Scab gunners, all these kind of things. You really want to be able to take them out in one shot. Okay, for your blessings, Shattering Impact is mostly for anti-monstrosity. Gets Hot is just a generally good buff to have because the more heat you have, the higher your critical chance, and having a critical on this is beautiful. That being said, if you take a look at the difference between a normal shot and a critical shot, it really isn't all that much, okay? It's about 200 more, but I will still take it. I will still take it because it's still a damage enhancement, all right? So criticals are less important on this, but, you know, it's a decent enough blessing, and I really didn't want to change it out. So, yeah. Stat-wise, stats are the most important. Stats are even more important, okay? What you want is damage and stopping power as high as possible. You need these two to be maximized. Ammo as high as possible. Charge rate, 70 is good enough. Anything above that is a blessing. And thermal resistance, I'm under for this one. You want to get a minimum of 60. But if you can get it as high as possible as well, that's also really good. Why is thermal resistance important? Because it means you can fire more times before you have to vent. All right. So this is important to having a good plasma gun. But if you cannot get it very high, that's okay. I'd rather you get damage, stopping power, ammo as high as possible. In order for this to be ammo efficient, you are going to kind of have to maximize ammo. All right. Because otherwise you are going to lack ammo and it's going to be a very, very tough fight. But if you have good stats on your plasma gun, life is very good. Okay. So this is how the Plasma Gun Veteran has basically been doing very well in the Auric Damnation runs. It's just so good. It feels good to instantly annihilate enemies. It's just an awesome weapon to have. Curios. Let's talk Curios. Okay, for your Curios, I went with 2 Toughness Curios and 1 Health Curio. For perks, I chose Combat Ability Regeneration, Toughness Regeneration, Speed, Damage Resistance, Gunners. The perks are the same across all the Curios, okay? Some of them have 15% damage resistance gunners and 4% combat ability regeneration. Honestly, try and get the rolls, whatever rolls you can, but the most important thing is your blessing, which should be 2 toughness blessings, 1 health blessing. Try to get a 21% health blessing and 17% toughness blessings if you can. Okay, those would be the max. But if you can get 16, that's already pretty good. All right, this will help your veteran have a total of, with this build, 172 toughness and 203 health, which will keep you alive in the field, especially in Auric Damnation. You'll be quite tanky. So this is pretty essential. All right, so those are my Curio choices. Now, let's get into the core of the build. The most important thing, it is the build made by the wok. So are you ready for this spicy build? All right, I'm gonna put some garlic in my wok right now. All jokes aside, here we go. Okay, so what's important for this build is number 1, long shot. You will deal up to 20% ranged base damage, and the bonus is reduced the nearer you are to the target. This is very helpful for when you are sniping. Okay, it's very good because you will often be shooting at distant targets and aiming for the head. Close order drill. This is very necessary because you want your crack grenades. So the more allies that are in coherency, the less toughness damage you take. Charismatic, 50% aura radius helps you out because in case your allies move away from you, they can still benefit from survivalist, and so can you. Next, Demolition Team. Demolition Team allows you and your allies in coherency to have a 5% chance to replenish a grenade on elite or specialist kill. Very useful. Very useful. Okay, Crack Grenade. You will throw a grenade that deals devastating damage, sticks to flak armored, carapace armored, and unyielding enemies. Okay, Health Boost. Grenade Tinkerer is pretty awesome. Range damage boost, then Catch a Breath. Replenish 5% toughness per second while there are no enemies within 8 meters. Very useful. Survivalist, again, very useful here. You replenish 1% ammo for you and your allies in coherency whenever any of you kill an elite or specialist enemy. Next, Reload Boost. Okay, 5% reload speed is really excellent. You'll want your kill zone, all right? 15% base range damage when there are no enemies within 8 meters. This is, again, extraordinarily useful when you really want to take out gunners, things like that. Toughness damage reduction is good for your health, and Demolition Stockpile is great for you as well. You replenish an extra grenade every 60 seconds. I would have loved to get Grenadier to carry 1 more grenade because you only got 2 crack grenades, but this is good enough. I take this Demolition Team mostly from my allies. If you find you don't need it, then strip it away and go get an extra critical chance, because why not? Or extra melee damage, up to you. Yeah? Your ability for this build is going to be Executioner's Stance. Executioner's Stance is extremely important because you will enter a ranged stance for 5 seconds. You will equip your ranged weapon and deal 25% extra range damage, 25% extra ranged weak spot damage, and your spread and recoil will be greatly reduced. This is what will help you calmly shoot enemies in the field. All right, elite enemies and specialist enemies are highlighted for 5 seconds, and the base cooldown is only 25 seconds. Very, very good. Okay, your ability modifier will be Relentless, where killing an enemy outlined by Executioner's Stance refreshes the duration of its bonuses, and you will also want Counterfire if you can. Okay, Counterfire will help you outline all ranged enemies. If you find that Counterfire is too disturbing, like it disturbs you too much in that, like, or you just it annoys you too much, get Volley Adept instead. Okay, this will help you reload your plasma gun faster. It can be pretty useful. Okay, but you don't really need this because you can go with the animation cancel, which I'll teach you at the end of the talent build. So if you want to put other variations, you can go for melee damage, critical chance boost, up to you, or even for the Emperor, you know, give you extra range base damage and your allies extra melee damage. There's a lot you can do, or even competitive urge if you want, get a little extra base damage, you know. There's a lot of options that you can choose if you don't want Counterfire, but I would genuinely leave the choice to you. Okay, I like Counterfire because sometimes if I just want to extend the duration of volley fire, I'll just shoot some random range troop. But again, choice is yours, okay? Now, after that, I went down here for range damage boost, stamina boost, then tactical awareness, which will allow you to cool down your executioner stance faster. You don't actually need it, but the only thing that I would say is that tactical awareness just is necessary for the rest of this tree, so you just kind of have to go with it. Bring It Down and Superiority Complex are amazing because this will help you deal 10% extra damage to elite enemies. Very good for killing the gunners and the ragers, all that. And Bring It Down will help you deal more damage to ogrins and monstrosities. Okay? Health boost, toughness boost, very good passives. Iron Will is excellent because if you're getting shot at, this can save you from being instantly annihilated. All right, giving you time to aim and shoot the target back, which will then regenerate toughness via Confirm Kill. You replenish 25% toughness on elite or specialist enemy kill, and a further 25% toughness over 10 seconds. This plus this can really help you gauge your toughness, just so you know, so it's really, really good. Inspiring Presence will give 10% toughness replenishment for you and your allies in coherency. Born Leader will help you replenish your allies' toughness, which is what makes this so good because not only are you heavy fire support, you are a regenerator for your team. You can keep your team alive with Born Leader. Rending Strikes gives you 15% rending, which is beautiful to have. It helps both your melee and your ranged weapon. And the toughness boost of 15 here is pretty darn good as well. Keeps you alive in the field. Very nice to have. Okay, so overall, this is the build. This is how the veteran is built. Okay, a quick overview of the talents. You know, if you guys want to copy it, you can just, you know, watch me scroll here. Okay, I will make sure that you can therefore pause it whenever you need it. All right. Okay, great. Let's return the camera and now let me show you some playstyle tips with this. Okay, first and foremost, the most important thing that you guys need to learn is the animation cancel. What exactly is the animation cancel? Well, after you murder something, let's say you want to reload your plasma gun. Upon removing the cap and you see the venting happen, you can sprint forward, and as soon as you click the cap in, that's the second cancel. The third happens by now you will do all of this by sprinting forward, okay? And I'm gonna go over it slower, other than what you just saw. But if you do a normal reload, it will kind of look like this. Then you put back the cap, you screw it back on. You have to wait for this to screw on, and then you're ready again, okay? So you can be ready a lot faster if you do it with the animation cancel. Here we go, okay? Reload. As soon as the venting starts, you can sprint forward, okay? Sprint forward again, sprint forward, just like that. Okay, so you can reload much faster if you don't screw up, but it does take practice to get it right. If you don't get it right, what will happen, let me just show you, okay? If you sprint too early, you can end up in a loop where you're putting on the cap. Make sure that you twist the cap first. After they twist the cap, that is when you can sprint to cancel. So in the field, it'll look something like this. let's say you're really going ham. Okay. Just like that. You see, I screwed that up because it has to do one tick twist before you can sprint cancel that. And if you fail, you'll go into a longer animation because you will just keep screwing up that last bit. But if you succeed, you can get it done pretty fast. All right. So let's try to do it again one more time. Ah, I screwed up there because he didn't click. Aha. Okay, as soon as one turn goes, yep. They must click the cap. So once you get practice on each of the points, and even I still screw up sometimes, but once you get practice, it's a pretty good technique. The other thing you need to know about the plasma gun is that you can vent your heat by pressing the special attack button. The same button that you use to, say, rev up your chainsword, okay, is the same button that'll help you vent the heat. Okay, but when you're venting the heat, take note that you will take some toughness damage. Check it out. If you are at orange or red, you will take some toughness damage while venting the heat from your plasma gun. Okay, so just be a bit careful of that. It can cause a loss of toughness gating if you do it at the wrong time. But if you get used to venting, it's pretty easy to keep up with it. Okay, so that is about it for your plasma gun tips and tricks. It is a very powerful gun, but it does require knowledge to use appropriately. Now, when it comes to the combat demonstration for this, you can actually find the combat demonstration on my sub channel. The link to this is in the description of the video, but I've also got a card up top which you can click for those of you on console who brought this to my attention. No problem. I will now put a card up here as well that links to the combat demonstration where you can see me running this. It's footage taken from stream. If you want to watch the whole stream, the link to that is now that one can only be found in the description of the video, but you can also review any of the streams where it literally says the title is Testing the Plasma Gun Veteran, all right? And you can review how I've gone with it. Okay, that is it for this video. I hope this build video helps you. I hope you guys enjoy this plasma gun build as much as I enjoyed making it and testing it. It is so good. It makes Auric Damnation as smooth as butter, and I have enjoyed it absolutely thoroughly, okay? Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support my content further and get a shout out in every video that I make, one of the best ways that you can do that is by becoming one of October's supporters. You can do this by sending tips, and top tipper is RiverArcher124 right now. Top tipper list goes to Vazgen. Top super chatter is Jason Kun. Top super chatter list, DeathDawning982, Dookie, Strix, Desert Fox, John Taylor, RiverArcher124. Top channel membership gifter is Nightshade. Thank you guys so much for your kind support. Now, let's also go over to the member list. Now, members are people who contribute month after month, and these guys always get a shout out in videos as long as they are above a certain tier. So starting right at the top, I got to give my love to Big Chungus at the OnlyFan level. You are amazing. Thank you so much for all you do for me. Okay, big thank you to DeathDawning982 at Plus Ultra. You are an amazing individual. Thank you so much. Our other prestige robots are Yuri, Jason Kun, Jerry Fast, Rogue Assassin, and Zach MG. Thank you so much. Now let's also thank our honored robots who make a lot of this content possible. Yabs96, thank you so much. Nightshade, Corey Ryu, Bob John, Cube, Devin Lashin, Mookie Mocha, Rena, Chase Taylor, Nathan Strong, Lady Neo, Joey Danze, Sayed Assad, Coda CMF, Kami SMH, Conrad C, and Benjamin Savage. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of our cool and weird bots as well. You guys mean so much to me. I honestly would not be able to do what I do without you guys. All right? Thank you. Thank you to all the people that like and share my content. I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Have fun with the Plasma Gun Veteran. It is amazeballs.